Welcome back to Dreamtime Adventures. Spring had finally arrived in the Berg, and Mayor Marie was planning the town's annual spring festival. Everyone was excited. Well, almost everyone. Up on Creaky Hill, Dr. Zoop was pacing back and forth in his laboratory, his wild hair even more ruffled than usual. "It's not fair, Rusty," he grumbled. "Everyone loves Mayor Marie's festival. Nobody ever loves my inventions." "Perhaps that's because your inventions usually cause trouble," Rusty replied with a squeaky whir of his wheels. "Remember the Chocolate River and the Mini Robot Rebellion? That's exactly why we need to make this festival go wrong," Dr. Zoop declared, running to his workbench. "I've invented something spectacular. Amazing bubbles that can lift anything they touch. Will trap all the festival goers in floating bubbles. Then they'll have to make me in charge of the festival instead of Mayor Marie." "Oh dear," Rusty sighed, watching Dr. Zoop mix chemicals in a large bottle. "I can feel a malfunction coming on." Just then a speck of dust tickled Rusty's metal nose. "Ah! Ah! Ah! Achoo!" His mechanical sneeze shook the whole laboratory, making Dr. Zoop jump and spill extra ingredients into his bubble mixture. Whoosh! The bottle began to fizz and shake. Pop, pop, pop! Bubbles started floating out. Lots and lots of bubbles. And these weren't ordinary bubbles. They were strong as steel, but soft as pillows. And they were multiplying faster than anyone could count. "Oopsies," Dr. Zoop muttered as the bubbles filled his laboratory. "This might be a tiny problem." Meanwhile, down in the Berg, Charlie and his blue dragon, Buddy, were helping to hang streamers between lampposts while Josephine and her majestic unicorn, Pinky, helped Mayor Marie arrange flowers for the festival. Suddenly, they heard shouts of surprise coming from up the hill. "Oh my! Help! Oh no!" Charlie looked up from Buddy's back to see the strangest sight. Dozens of giant bubbles floating down from Creaky Hill, and they were picking up everything they touched. Garden chairs went floating by, followed by picnic baskets, and even some very startled townspeople. "Look!" Josephine pointed toward a bubble that had just scooped up poor Mrs. Appleblossom, their neighbor who was famous for her cherry pies. "The bubbles are carrying people away." "That has to be Dr. Zoop's doing," Charlie said. "Come on, we need to help." Up they flew, Charlie on Buddy and Josephine on Pinky, as more and more bubbles filled the sky. Some bubbles were carrying dogs who were barking in surprise, while others contained cats who seemed quite pleased with their floating adventure. One especially large bubble had picked up an entire fruit cart, with oranges and apples bouncing around inside like a giant snow globe. Back at the laboratory, Dr. Zoop himself had gotten trapped in a bubble. "Rusty!" he called out as he bobbed near the ceiling. "Do something!" "I would," Rusty creaked, "but I'm a bit busy myself." The robot was spinning in circles, trying to avoid the bubbles that kept trying to lift him up. Charlie guided Buddy close to Mrs. Appleblossom's bubble. "Don't worry," he called out. "We'll get you down." But when Buddy tried to pop the bubble with his claw, the bubble just bounced away. The bubbles were too strong. "Wait," Josephine called out. "Maybe Pinky's magic can help." Her unicorn friend's horn began to glow with rainbow light. When the light touched a bubble, it didn't pop, but it started to slowly sink back to the ground. "That's it!" Charlie exclaimed. "Buddy and I will guide the bubbles away from town, and you and Pinky can help lower them safely." Working together, the four friends began their rescue mission. Charlie and Buddy discovered that Buddy's gentle dragon breath could guide the bubbles, each puff of warm air sending them floating in just the right direction, like a shepherd guiding sheep. While Charlie and Buddy directed the bubbles with these careful breaths, Josephine and Pinky used their magic to gently bring each one down. Soon they had rescued the fruit cart, though the fruits were quite mixed up, all the pets, who had very different opinions about their adventure, and every townsperson except one. "Help!" came Dr. Zoop's voice from high above. His bubble had floated higher than all the others. "I promise I'll never make trouble bubbles again." Buddy flew Charlie up to the highest bubble, while Josephine and Pinky prepared their magic below. With a careful puff of warm dragon breath, Buddy guided Dr. Zoop's bubble down into range of Pinky's rainbow light, and soon the inventor was back on solid ground. "Well," Mayor Marie said, trying not to smile too much, It seems we have an unexpected addition to our spring festival, a bubble show. She was right. Some of the smaller bubbles were still floating harmlessly through town, catching the sunlight and making beautiful rainbow patterns in the sky. Children were running around trying to catch them, laughing when the bubbles would bounce off their fingers with a gentle boing. I suppose, Dr. Zoop admitted, watching the children play, sometimes accidents make better inventions than plans. And sometimes, Rusty added with another squeaky whir, the best festivals are the ones nobody planned at all. Charlie and Josephine couldn't help giggling as they watched Dr. Zoop start explaining to a group of fascinated children how he had accidentally created the amazing bouncing bubbles. Even Mayor Marie joined in the fun, suggesting they make the bubble show an annual part of the Spring Festival. And so what started as a scheme to ruin the festival ended up making it even better. Because in the Berg, even troublesome inventions have a way of turning into wonderful surprises. Join us next time for another magical adventure, where friendship, courage, and a little bit of magic make anything possible.